I've had many a deer stare at me, so that I don't find that all that weird.
And deer can be incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like I had a deer once, like clomp its hoof, but I did learn later on that that's actually like some kind of warning signal to other deer. Big animals scare me anyway, so I'm like, if the deer's looking at me, I'm probably going to walk the other way. You know, I know they're typically just run into the woods, but
I pet a wild deer.
See, I wouldn't do that.
I feel like that's very on brand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've pet many a wild animal. I don't know why I keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best idea, but I mean, how do you say no once they get up there, you know?
Yeah. You know, and other like little traits of not deer is like they seem to I don't know how people can detect this, but possess an intelligence that seems higher for deer. And I've also read stories of deer like running, walking, etc. bipedally, which is, you know, on their back legs, sometimes just sprinting like a human. So yeah,
there are not a whole lot of things in this world that would instantly make me like go fight or flight, just like without any thought. But a sprinting 2-legged deer would probably make me be like, yeah, we need to leave this. We need to vacate everything.
Yeah.
Should set fire to the woods.
Yeah. So, sightings of these creatures, it's frequently seen in Appalachia, kind of like many mentions of foothills in Virginia and stuff like that. I saw a few stories about the knot deer. This one isn't exactly the most like freaky or whatever, but I just kind of enjoy how this person writes. So I'm gonna do a little bit of my own theater this time.
Ooh.
Yes,
all right,
bring it.
So this is from a user, Did You Notice, on Tumblr, and I'm going to read the story. I have a story about the knot deer from 2 summers ago. I lived deep in the Appalachia Mountains at the time, unlike the foothills I'm in now. I was wandering in the woods, probably 2/3 of a mile from my house at that point, as one does when they live miles down a twisty dirt road with the nearest town, and therefore things to do, 30 minutes away when I heard brush moving. I knew it was probably a harmless animal, a possum, or a deer, maybe a particularly destructive rabbit, and I turned to look. Well, it was a deer in the way that a graveyard is a playground. You could treat it as such, I guess, but it won't feel the same. I love that line.
That's a great line.
It's a good line. It was about 30 feet away from me staring. Wild deer don't stare at random people. I mean, I definitely disagree with that. Wild deer don't stare at random people to begin with. They just run away. She was breathing hard and making low rumbling sound. God, it sounds like I'm reading the porn.
Uh-oh.
I didn't really know what to do and hadn't really thought about the dangers of going near wild animals, even if they are harmless deer. So I went towards her. I swear to God, this thing's eyes blanked out. Do they mean blacked out? It says blanked out.
Could be, white, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Eyes blanked out, and it took a couple jerking steps forward, moving really strangely, ? And I flinched, because what the hell? And then she ran off to the side while staring at me until she was about 50 feet away. It was deeply unsettling in a way that I can't explain, and I know that thing was not quite a deer. I sprinted all the way home. So a lot of these stories are very much like that. I'm in the dark woods. Then I see a deer. I'm like, oh, it's a deer. Oh, wait, it's weird. It's acting strange. It's scaring me, and I run away. Most of the stories, that's pretty much the format that they take.
Kind of reminds me of the fox in like Korean and Japanese culture, where it's like this. Like, is it a fox? Is it a witch? Like, is it something that looks like a fox? And like, the stories are usually kind of like that, well, something felt off. And then, someone got sick in town. So it was definitely a witch. We got to go kill that fox.
That's good you bring that up. So in the believers camp, some people theorize that it's like some form of shapeshifter that's like trying to disguise itself as a deer, but I guess doing like a real shit job of it.
It's my first day.
It's my first day of being a shapeshifter. I don't know what to do.
Deer are aggressive, right? Deer are like wolves, right?
Yeah, and some people also say that the knot deer may be related to or the same thing as deer men. And deer men, for anyone that doesn't know, is just like a entity that has a deer's head a human torso and like deer legs. I saw this really great Photoshop of like just like a deer head popped onto like a very muscular torso, like very much like, God, what are those joke erotic novels on Amazon? I can't remember. There's a whole series of them. Like
talking about
Chuck Tingle?
Yes.
Talking about them tingles, baby.
Yes.
Oh, the Tingleverse.
Tingle's coming up on this show at some point.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tingle's the master of what we're talking about.
Basically, it looked like one of those like Chuck Tingle covers, and like I'm just like, this is good. I have to bring this up, even though like I don't have the visual, sadly. But so yeah. So as far as the believers camp, that's the theory. In the non-believers skeptic camp, it's not as happy. A lot of people cite chronic wasting disease, which is a fatal neurological disease that affects like deer and elk and moose and things like that. Symptoms include drastic weight loss, stumbling, loss of bodily function, listlessness, and other kind of neurological symptoms, sometimes aggression. And this disease is caused by prions that lead to the neurological damage in the animals. It kind of makes the brain squishy.
It's the same thing as mad cow disease. Well, not this. I don't know if it's the
It's
same
very
thing.
similar,
The
yeah.
prions
Similar
are
in a
the
way.
reason for mad cow disease, or the reason for when they talk about like cannibalistic humans, how they like lose their minds. Eating your own will give you prions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder, is that how the knot deer got its prions? From eating its own.
It's a cannibal deer.
I mean, you know, again, there are stories of it being aggressive. You know, I haven't done an extensive like research about all the different variety of stories. Supposedly you get on TikTok, you can see lots of videos about it. I've seen a couple that I watched. I am not on TikTok because I'm old, but
Same.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the knot deer in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love the knot deer. I've like obviously I've read stories from creepypastas and stuff of the knot deer, and I just absolutely love it. Just because of, and I'm not now. Yeah, but now I'm not looking at it anymore.
You're just a little bit quieter. We can kind of move it if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanna make love to you, woman.
Just found what I'm going to put quietly in the opener.
All right. But yeah, I really love the knot deer because like the is it or isn't it, that sort of like not quiteness is what makes it scary, because like on first glance it is what it is, but on second glance it's not what it is. Like that like slight like change.
Isn't there a name for that kind of phenomenon?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think there is.
I can't remember what it is.
All I could think of was the term cognitive dissonance, which is not the right term. But
No, not quite.
I feel like it's something, kind of uncanny valley.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, because uncanny valley is that like, oh, that's a...
Yeah, like something about that like, moment is so frightening. I just love it.
It's a wolf in deer clothing, you know.
Well, it's like
just something messes with you.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, if you see something out of the corner of your eye kind of thing, but almost like the reverse. Because when I see stuff out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, ghost.
Ghost.
But, you know, it's kind of the opposite. Like, oh, it's just a deer. Wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. I have a small story then.
Yes. Bring it.
Because, well, this is just interesting that this is the creature, because the other night, I was standing by a big field with my dog, and I heard some noise off in the distance by like, there's a creek that runs back behind this building. And as I'm staring off, I could see that something incredibly tall was moving through the brush, and my dog is not quick or, you know, anything. So I was like,
no, poor guy.
He's a very slow boy. So coming for your soup.
Oh no, the soup again.
So I'm not going to rush him. You know, I'm going to let him do his thing. But I'm like kind of looking up and keeping an eye on whatever it is, because I can't tell. And I was pretty sure it was a person. Like I thought there was a person wandering around back in this brush, which was super creepy because there is literally no reason for anyone to be back there. It is a creek, and then on the other side is like a what are they called? A cell tower, and then there's like a neighborhood off in the distance. But the only reason to be back in there is for sneaking. Like that's it. So I'm just like, keep looking up. And then after a little while, I kind of make out a white line that's kind of coming up. And I realized it was like the tail of a deer. I was like, oh, it's a deer.